Hello my friends, thanks for tuning in for another adventure. My name is Ian with Out of This World Reader, and today's video is going to be a very large book haul. For some reason, a lot of books just keep arriving at my door and onto my bookshelf, so they have piled up and I have a lot of books, mostly fantasy and sci-fi, to go over with you today. But I won't go much in depth with them. I'll kind of give you some brief ideas that I know about what's going on with them or whether I enjoyed them or not. So I think it's without further ado that it is my pleasure to hop in with all these books that I gotta go over. First one that I have here is Velvet is the Night by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I believe this takes place in Mexico City during the 50s, and there's kind of like some Russian KGB agents or the mob or something, and there's this one girl, this one woman that goes missing. Like she's on the same floor of her apartment in the Friends or something like that, and then she disappears, and together this other woman and this one kind of gangster, I believe, have to go and search for her, and there's all kinds of crime going on. But I really enjoy everything I've read by Silvia Moreno Garcia, so I ended up picking this up for my book of the month pick because I just feel like this one will be just as good as his other ones. This next one I had been waiting since I finished that first book, and that is Our Violent Ends, which is the final book in Our Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. I loved this different take that she took with the Romeo and Juliet retelling, kind of adding a horror and paranormal, a little bit of fantasy into the kind of old tale and just making it her own in Shanghai. I love that setting as well during, I think it was like the 20s or the 30s in Shanghai, and it was just like the perfect setting between these rivaling gangs and then something else going on. So I just really enjoyed it, and I'm really interested to see how it would end, because if you've read it you might know why. Another one of my book of the month picks was Keeper of the Night. I think this was this month. This is a fantasy pick that I was really interested in. I saw this on someone's most anticipated releases for the rest of the year, and it's kind of taking this one girl is half Shinigami, half Japanese Shinigami, and then half British Reaper, and that's about all I know, and that's all I need to know. And I can't remember, I think she goes back to Tokyo or to Japan after something goes down in England, and she's basically forced back to Japan to kind of solve death or something. I don't know, but I will be picking up very soon. For this next one, I did a whole vlog on the first one, and I picked up the second one and I read the second one, The Last Graduate by Naomi Novik, which is the second book in the Schoolman's trilogy. And the first one I was really drawn on because I really liked the school setting. It was just a lot of info dumping and inner dialogue that I didn't like with Elle. I was hoping that it was going to improve in this one, and it did a tad. Elle improved. In the first one she was really negative Nancy, but in this one she improved a teeny bit. She's still pretty negative, but I still love the school setting. This one I would say it was kind of like, it almost feels like this whole trilogy or this whole series in general is a bunch of like side quests, and then towards the end it will focus on a specific thing. And through this one, like the kind of first 200 pages or so is kind of like a slog, and it's just them going about kind of trying to graduate and prepare for graduation, and then the last little bit is what's the plot for the whole book. So that's kind of what disappointed me, but I still love the school. Elle improved, and I think the final book will be very interesting because, like, I guess I can't say anything else without spoiling it, but I have a feeling that it's going to be pretty interesting. I recently finished and really liked this next one. It's seen everywhere. Everyone recommends it for both fantasy romance and just romance in general. And she's a well-known author. And A Court of Thorns and Roses. This was, I believe, my Beauty and the Beast retelling pick for the Descent-a-thon this month, and I couldn't find anything else that I thought I would enjoy, so I thought I might as well just start another series with some fae schmut, and I did enjoy it. Like, I thought that the plot it was mostly kind of fantasy like based, or kind of it was mostly just fantasy romance, and I have never experienced any of that, so I think it was a good first experience with that. And I'm very interested to see how it will kind of continue, because the end of this one it didn't really leave off on a cliffhanger. So maybe with the king to the north, or no, to the west, maybe that's where it'll go. And just seeing what Feyre and Tamsin will do for each other. Not Tamsin, is it? Tamlin will do for each other. Warmed my heart, because Feyre in the beginning, she didn't really like the Fae. So I understand why a lot of people like this. Then I went ahead and just bought the whole Dune series. This was my book club series pick, the series read along that we did, and I really liked the first one, so I went ahead and just bought all of these. I don't know if it's the new editions or what, but there was like a box set, and I just bought them all because I felt like I was enjoying. Dune Messiah was kind of a letdown, but I'm hoping that Children of Dune will improve, because and the introduction that Brian Herbert wrote, he basically said that Dune Messiah was kind of setting it up for the rest of the series. And we'll see where it goes. I still have not seen the adaptation. I've avoided spoilers, anything. I've only watched a trailer, and I really need to watch the adaptation, because I did a whole reading vlog of reading the first book, and then I was going to review the movie, but I haven't watched the movie yet, so that is on my agenda. But I think after how much I enjoyed the first one, I thought it would be beneficial to just pick up the whole series, because I loved the world and everything going on, so I thought I would enjoy the entirety of the saga or trilogy. And then in my Illumicrate box, I think it was for the October box, I got Iron Widow, which I'm really excited for because I really loved Pacific Rim. And this one takes a little bit of giant monsters and mixes it in with kind of Chinese history with some giant robots, some giant Megatrons. Not Megatrons, but Jaeger. What were they called in Pacific Rim? Like Jaegers? Mixing that with some Chinese history, throw it a little bit of sci-fi and fantasy, and this is what we get. And I'm really excited. I think this is actually going to be the book club pick for January. So if you want to join along, see if you can find a copy from your library or wherever, because I think we will enjoy this. And then for Owlcrate, we got Jade Fire Gold, which is another book that I was really hoping for to get, but the loans at my library are too long to wait, and thankfully Owlcrate provided me with a copy. I believe this is like a multi-perspective Japanese history or just Asian-inspired fantasy that I'm really excited for. The cover is outstanding, and I saw on Hugo's channel, he did like for his most anticipated releases, this was on here, and I can't remember what he said exactly about it, but what he said made me add it to my TBR, so this will be maybe another book club pick. And then from another Owlcrate a couple months back, this one is Lake's Edge, and this is a horror, YA horror, taking place at this manor by this lake, I believe, and there's monsters involved. And I really wanted to pick it up for Halloween, but I just didn't get the time to take to it. But let me just read you this. It says, "There are monsters in the world, there are monsters in the woods. There's a monster in the shadows, and now it knows my name." That sounds pretty creepy, and especially since I'm very amateur and very unexposed to horror, I think starting with some little bit of YA will be just right for me. Another book of the month pick that I haven't got to, a lot of these I haven't got to yet, that is unfortunate, but I've been making my way through them. But I picked up The Perishing, and this is told to be like speculative fiction with a little bit of time travel and like an immortal being that kind of has lost her memory, and she finds this one firefighter who she's the only thing that he is the only thing that she can remember, and together they are trying to figure out their past and figure out what role they play, I believe. I probably have no idea, but speculative fiction is one genre that I really wanted to get into, so I thought this would be a good pick for me. Similar to Dune, I listened to Ray Bear by Jordan E. Fuecco last year as an audiobook. I got a free copy of it, and I listened to it, and I really enjoyed the world and everything about it. But I felt like I've missed out on a lot because my mind doesn't do very well with fantasy audiobooks. So then I picked up the duology. I got the first and the second book because of how much I liked it. and I want to reread it physically so I can kind of get fully immersed in it and just fall in love with the world again, and then read the final book in the duology, Redemptor, and see how it ends, because the first one like set it up for I thought would be like a trilogy or a series, but it's only a duology, so that's always a plus too because it's shorter, because I'm in the middle of a ton of series. But this world is outstanding. If you haven't checked this out yet, definitely give it a try. It's very, like, there's found family, emotional. Like, it was just great. Like, the world, it reminded me a lot of Black Panther. And I'm going to pick it up here pretty soon. It was on my, like, November TBR, and if I don't get it to it this month, it'll be next month for sure. And then picking up another final book in the duology, I got We Free the Stars by Hafsa Fazal. But the first one, We Hunt the Flame, I read it at the wrong time. I still enjoyed the world and everything, but I still enjoyed like the plot and everything going on with it. And I felt I have to reread that one and see how it ends, because I saw a review that said this one was way better than the first one. And since I loved like the world and everything about it, like, and read it the wrong time, I feel like rereading that one and then finishing it off, like, I think it's going to be a good time. And the final fantasy book that I got here is my book club pick for the month of December, so if you want to join in, there'll be a link to the Discord down below. But that is The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. And this was recommended for everyone who enjoyed Spinning Silver or Uprooted. And it's another kind of folktale retelling. And if you know me, I love folktale retellings, and I just feel like this is going to be perfect for the winter season as it starts to get snowy. Said that this is supposed to be perfect for the season. The atmosphere that it brings is the best, and it's only a trilogy, and it's well known for folktale retellings. If you want to join along, make sure to follow that link down below. And the last book of the month pick that I had from a couple months ago is actually a memoir. I've been meaning to get into more memoirs, and this is Beautiful Country, and this is a Chinese American who is telling her tale as she moves to America for following kind of, her parents are following kind of the American dream, and it just details the struggles of like how they had to live. And I thought it would be very interesting because my father is actually an immigrant, and he immigrated here. I can't remember when exactly, but he immigrated here and he had to work kind of as a migrant farmer, a migrant worker, moving along in different states to kind of make a living. And I just thought it would be interesting to get another perspective on just immigrating to the US, so I picked it up. And the last book on this very large book haul is Troy by Stephen Fry. This is the final book, sadly, in the Mythos trilogy, and it details the whole story of Troy. And I had no prior knowledge going into reading this or listening to this. Always listen to them. They're always the best with kind of the narrations that Stephen Fry does. I think they're just the best. And so I had no prior knowledge listening to this beforehand, and I think it gave me like the perfect kind of background knowledge to read the Iliad and the Odyssey and see how they kind of compare and like contrast. I would say out of the whole series, I think Mythos is still my favorite, and I just covered all the gods. But this one, they're all 5 stars, but I think Mythos was my favorite. But that is all for this very large book haul. I needed to get it done, and it has been done. I'm sorry I didn't go much in depth with details or anything, but I'll make sure to leave links to any videos if I included them in kind of TBRs or wrap-ups, reading vlogs, anything. So those will be down below. But that is going to be all for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in the next one. So if you did enjoy this, please consider liking and subscribing. But it is that time, unfortunately, to leave you with a message from Ellie, who first wishes you to have a splendid day. But she also says that adventure is out there. So I'll catch you next time. Bye.